always try to be honest with you regarding a player that I'll take a liking to or enjoy watching more than maybe someone else. And yeah, I'm human. I'm going to appreciate some quality interaction. So sure, I've got my favorites. And Erik Karlsson happens to be one of them. And I'm not going to apologize for that to anybody. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Penguins versus Islanders tonight at PPG Paints Arena. That's a 7:08 p.m. face-off. That's a game that I'm not going to try to attach relevance to these things anymore, but there it is, okay? That's one of the teams that's in the pack. I am going to, for the most part, try to bring up subjects that have longer-term relevance to the franchise, and Karlsson's absolutely one of those. He's the team's highest-paid player at $11.5 million in average annual value. He's got 2 more years on his contract at that rate. He's 34 years old now. He'll obviously be 36 whenever the deal's done. And depending on your perspective, that's either really exciting or excruciating. Actually, it might depend on the shift. That's who he is. He is extraordinarily talented. If you happen to pay really close attention to the goal he scored the other day against the Devils, it wasn't just the shot that he took from distance. It wasn't just the way he sized up where Jacob Markstrom was. It was the toe drag that led into the shot. Toe drags aren't easy, and that's why they're not routine in the NHL. But a toe drag that morphs in the same motion into a shot that comes with that kind of velocity and that kind of accuracy, that, my friends, is freakish stuff that needs to be fully appreciated, whoever you are, even if you're rooting for the other team. Because if I see somebody doing that against the Penguins, believe you me, I've got no different reaction. But my guess is that whatever Karlsson might have or might not have done wrong at some other point in the game, a giveaway, a lapse, just leaving his guy standing alone by the net. How about a lateral pass for a giveaway inside the other team's blue line? How about not really making much of an effort to get back if and when he does that? That's going to be the kind of thing, and fairly so, that's going to stick out in a lot of people's minds. It doesn't in mine. Maybe it should, but it doesn't. And I feel like I've got a reasonable defense for myself on this front, meaning not just that he's absolutely awesome to deal with off the rink, and he really is. For those of us, and I'm going to kind of date myself with the rest of this segment here, who go way back, meaning either the Mario Lemieux days or the pre-Mario days, you'll know that once 66 arrived, others began to arrive with him. Other players of special skill. Some of those were brought in from the outside, like Paul Coffey. Some would come up through the system or never spend a single day in the system, like Jaromir Jagr. And some, and these were my favorites, would come to Pittsburgh as if they were highly skilled refugees. And those of you who go back to this time are already saying before I do, like Alexei Kovalev. Now, Kovalev showed his skill in New York, helped the Rangers win a Stanley Cup at a very, very young age. But he didn't fully shine until he came here in the atmosphere that really Mario himself created. He wanted Pittsburgh to be this kind of place. He wanted Peter Nedved, Robert Lang, Thomas Sandstrom. He wanted players like that to come here from other places and feel like, hey, it's all right to show your skill here. It's all right to be yourself. There are things we're going to demand of you, but we're not going to stick you in a box either. And maybe because of that, because I learned at a young age in Pittsburgh to appreciate those players in a way that probably even felt special to them, meaning how the city treated them than when they were in other NHL markets. That became part of the imprint of being a Pittsburgh Penguin. Now, Sid and Gino and Tanger and Flower and everybody else comes along. There's a whole nother generation. But you would still hear every once in a while, whether it was from Mario himself when he was still part owner, or even from Sid and Gino and these guys, that, hey, this is Pittsburgh. It's okay. You can just do your thing. I like that. I've always liked that. And I liked getting Karlsson. Yeah, he came off the 101-point season in San Jose. And since then, he's had, in his first 2 seasons with the Penguins, 56 points last year, a 49 so far this year. Nothing to complain about from a points production. It's obviously not triple digits, but he's been plenty good enough in that regard. And he's done a lot of things that have made the Penguins better offensively as a team, notably forcing them, often vocally, to go to the net, because he's not holding that puck out there for nothing. He needs targets. And even though he can occasionally beat a Markstrom like the way he did this weekend, meaning beat him cleanly, he'd much rather go for a teammate's stick blade that's properly presented. He has also been, contrary to broad misperception, someone who cares. I know what it looks like, okay? I'm there too. I cringe just as much as you do upon seeing it, and it makes even less sense to me, because I see him and hear him after losses. He takes them hard. Might not always look like it or sound like it, but I'm not guessing at this. Sometimes that's just the way the personality develops. You're not going to change it. I did mention he's 34. So as I see it, could Kyle Dubas unload that contract? I'm sure he's wanted to. In fact, I'm positive he's wanted to. Probably not. That's a massive cap hit to take on for anybody. Never mind someone who might bring even more headaches than they do highlights. Me, for as long as he's here, as long as it's not directly, heavily influencing the game in a negative way, I'm going to enjoy him. I'm sorry. Wait, I said I wasn't going to apologize. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Bobby, who says, DK, we're going to mess around and make the playoffs, aren't we? This isn't the only one I've gotten like this. I know, of course they're not going to make the playoffs. Let's start with that, okay? Let's start with being the downer, or the realist, actually, because that's what this is. The Penguins go into tonight's game against the Islanders 6 points behind the Rangers, who currently hold the last playoff spot, the last wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. New York has 72 points. Pittsburgh has 66. Well, seems doable, right? Especially since the Rangers aren't really anything special. Well, no. Okay. Start with this. Team they're facing tonight, the Islanders, are the team that's directly above them in these standings. In fact, there are 5 teams between the Penguins and the Rangers. The Islanders just happen to be the closest to the Penguins. They have 2 more points, but they also have 3 games in hand. What a weird schedule, by the way, the NHL's made this year. Penguins have played so many more games than almost every other team that it's going to seem strange when they all somehow end up with 82. But you've got to cross over that team that has 3 games in hand on you. You've got to then cross over the Bruins, who have the same number of games played as the Penguins. Then you've got to work your way up to the Blue Jackets, who have 2 fewer games played, and the Red Wings, who have 2 fewer games played. Then the Canadiens, who have 3 fewer games played, before you make it to the Rangers, who have 1 fewer game played. So, it's really, really daunting, bordering on impossible. The Penguins would have to go on some crazy stretch, and they can't even lose one of these, meaning these 4-point games with a team that's right in front of them, like tonight. But if you want to look on the positive side of that, it's that these players, and it's always about the players first and foremost when it comes to something like this, have committed themselves to playing either some of their best hockey or their best hockey of the season in a circumstance that almost anybody anywhere would and should consider to be completely hopeless. That's cool, and I'm not about to ignore it just because of, draft picks or regrets or whatever. Just play the hockey that's right in front of you. Play the best hockey that you can. I appreciate the question. I appreciate the upbeat attitude. Life's too short for anything else. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Penguins, and we'll do another one of these tomorrow.